Yeah, when we talk about a vocational call, I think for me, I have to think of the sacrament of baptism. I believe every Catholic is called by name, called by God the Father, as a child of God, son of God, a daughter of God. And growing up, I wasn't always practicing my Catholic faith, but my conversion really stems from God calling me by name in a very tumultuous time in our country. And for me, my call came right after a post 9/11 world. I was in college studying civil engineering, just kind of a wayward youth, not kind of sure what my purpose or mission or what that call meant. I kind of became displeased with what the world was offering. My faith really, that was dormant in my young adult life, started to grow. And so I like to say those sacramental graces that were given to me in baptism and confirmation began to grow, began to stem. And so the Holy Spirit began kind of forming my intellect, forming my prayer life, forming a relationship with the Son. And so the more that I got to know Jesus, the more my call grew. If you go back and explore the historicity of my life, one of the unique gifts that God kind of planted early on was the gift of brotherhood. I come from a family of all biological brothers. And so when I met Christ, I think he knew my heart and saw that the Capuchins would be a very good fit. And so I went home to my hometown and found a spiritual director. So anybody discerning a vocation, I think, needs to find a holy spiritual director that can help kind of parse through some of those desires of our hearts. And one of those desires was brotherhood. Growing up, I grew up in a rural diocese, so all I knew were diocesan priests, very holy men. But they didn't seem to live out the brotherhood that I was searching for. And so my spiritual director led me to a Capuchin friar that was ministering in all places at a secular mall, at the Citadel Mall. And so I went there with my mom one day, and we attended Mass, and we got to meet some of the volunteers and several of the friars there. And they invited me to keep coming back. And eventually, through a deepening of that relationship and an experience of them and in their friary, having meals, sharing meals with them, it just felt like the brotherhood that my heart was searching for and that the Lord kind of placed in my path. So the Capuchins live out the brotherhood in the spirit of St. Francis. Francis early on had a deep conversion to the gospel. He left the world, left his wealth, and followed, and then shortly after, a band of brothers followed him, and they rebuilt the church at San Damiano, and then continued on to do great things for the Lord after that band of brothers was built. And so for me, finding the Capuchins was a great spiritual joy and a great spiritual affirmation of that early call that God gave to me in baptism.